Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for a live reaction and player ratings live stream following the curse of Old Trafford continuing. A curse that we put up on ourselves, by the way. No one else is putting that curse on anyway. We bottled it again, essentially. Played actually pretty well, I would say. Sure, some people might have different opinions on that. I thought we played pretty well, just didn't take our chances. And then we actually do score, and then we just bottle it. Essentially, mostly Kante, I will say. As great as he was, or as good as he was outside of that moment was really bad. And it was just, he's done it again. He did it against Madrid. He did it today. Like, what is this with us scoring a goal and then conceding straight away? Like, can we stop doing that? We're behaving like absolute clowns. Like, honestly, I thought the team, like, not much to say about Mendy, really. I thought the centre-backs played okay, especially Thiago Silva with a lot of decent balls. Reece James was an absolute one-man show anyway. Alonso actually had a good game. I thought both Kante and Jorginho were pretty decent. And then you get to the front three. Timo was active early, but then it basically didn't see him anymore. Havertz was getting on the end of everything, but not scoring anything. And Mason Mount was kind of like on and off, some bad crosses every now and again. A couple of good crosses as well, to be fair. Just not quite enough. And it was an easy game. We played Manchester United off the park, and it was arguably too easy because we just could not, for the life of ourselves, win. Reece James then hitting the post, which he should score. Obviously, people say, "Oh, he shouldn't score. It's this weak foot." Don't care if he decides to go for the shot with his weak foot, and he had time to take on his right foot as well if he wanted to. So if you go for it with your weak foot, then you better score it with your weak foot. Obviously, outside of that, it was still amazing, but I find it funny how just because he was great outside of that, I cannot understand why I shouldn't be able to criticize that missed chance. But yeah, as you can see, we're joined by no Pice and no Con today, and a lot of the other guys are unfortunately busy or have got early starts tomorrow or are at the game, like in Charlie's case. So very big shout out to Jester, who's literally joined this with, about 2 minutes notice. Big up, Jester. Hit me, man. Like, there's not even much to say. We were a better team, and we just bottle it again because against Arsenal and Man United, it's just what we do.
Well, it's just story of our season now, isn't it?
Yeah.
We were the better team. We couldn't score. We finally get a goal, but it's not enough. How many times have we done that this year? How many times? Well, I can think Burnley is one of them, right? When Burnley drew with us.
Yeah, Burnley, Brighton, Everton,
yeah.
Man United at home.
It's just that we're at a point where we have to find somebody to put the ball in the back of the net. And, we were all calling for changes to the front three. We've stayed now with this front three, or the three attacking players. We won't call it a front three for 5 games on the bounce. Yeah. Well, no, because Kai didn't start the one game, but basically came on at halftime. But it's just not good enough. I know everybody got excited because Timo had a couple of goals. The dude is lost out there. He looks like a kindergartner in the slow class playing with a bunch of high schoolers that know what they're doing or something. It's just bad. He just has no feel for the game. He plays with his head down. What was he doing out there?
He graduated college already at 12. That's what he looked like.
Look, without Reece James, he was amazing. Best match I've seen from him probably since his injury.
He was very good against Burnley as well, to be fair. But yeah, I reckon he was better today. I agree.
He pocketed both Elanga and Rashford when he was up against him. They didn't
and
really have
time.
Yeah, he didn't really have anything to do. He was great, but he was our best attacking player on the field, and he's basically a midfielder in that formation. So / defender, whatever you want to say. It's not good enough. Some of the finishing was horrible. But you can always bring in the substitutes that were only on for 19 minutes if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, just as I would have called for the subs when we made it 1-0, because obviously I wanted, for example, Pulisic to come on for Timo at about an hour, but at exactly that hour is kind of when we scored, and then we conceded straight away. So it is a bit of a tough one, but yeah, it's just my days. We just don't do things easy for ourselves, do we? Clutch, thank you for joining me as always, man. Similar thoughts to Jester myself, or it's just pure frustration at this point for me.
Yeah, it's literally the story of our year. Bad finishing. again, finding out that Reece James might be our best player out literally of all of our players, it's kind of insane, especially when he's been.
Is that surprising?
Not for me, but he's making his run as the future Chelsea captain. I mean, it's just thank God for Reece James today, because otherwise my eyes would be bleeding right now, and I'd be needing more cheesecake to help myself. But it's one of those things where I don't know where to start to criticism, because it's like everybody's like, this is our best front three. It's not. I'm sorry. Timo had some good moments, sure. And then we put him in. He had good form, sure. Kai Havertz is our best 9, I say in quotation marks, because what else do we have? We have Romelu Lukaku, who doesn't move, which doesn't fit our system, like we were talking about in the private chat, me, you, and Pius. And then you have Mason Mount, who is a better midfielder than he is attacker. It's just things that don't make sense to me that we keep doing, and I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore, but I'm not so much mad at it, because I think I predicted 1-1 yesterday. I think I did, if I remember correctly. But, we're good enough that United today were being booed. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best of all time, was being booed by his fans walking into the stadium today. And we lost, and we tied with them.
And we gifted him a goal to make up for it.
That team.
Yeah. It's literally it, man. Like, excuse me. I don't even know what to think anymore. Like, you see Tuchel saying it here, like in his press conference on Havertz, he said he needs to fight back for his shape and have that same feeling. I hope he shows a reaction. The guys up front are young, so I won't start pointing fingers, which is also relatively understandable, I guess. He says we were very dominant, found the spaces. We could have taken advantage. I felt we missed something in the last 16 yards of the field to finish it off earlier, and we did, and we absolutely did. I mean, Jester said it there. Reece James was our best attacker, even though he's a defender or midfielder, whatever you want to call it, but not an attacker. At the same time, of course, Man United putting always basically 6 players in their own box obviously makes it difficult for any attack, but we had the chance. Like, Kai was 1-on-1 with De Gea, hit it straight at him. He had the header. I think the header was a bit more difficult than people give him credit for, because he was running backwards, so it's difficult to get much power on it in the other direction. But still, should he be doing better? Someone put it in the chat. As much as we criticize Kai Havertz, since Lukaku came on for him, and to be fair, also Pulisic for Werner, but mostly the difference I thought was Havertz, Lukaku. Yeah, maybe sometimes we didn't give him the ball when we should, but we essentially didn't create a single chance, really. Obviously, we had Pulisic's cross, but there was miscommunication. I don't know if he was waiting for Mount to run, but he didn't run, so I had your cross there, or whether he wanted Alonso to continue his run, or why he didn't go for rather than a cutback, a flat cross to Lukaku, who made the run towards the near post. I don't know. That was the only kind of... It wasn't a chance, but it was the only thing that could have led to a chance, really, I could think of. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's the only thing that I could think of. And it was just like we battered them left, right, and centre. But ladies and gentlemen in the chat, please do subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll also get to a couple of super chats, which we have already received, which I'm massively appreciative of. Subscribe, like I say, and smash that like button for me. Let me get to that first super chat by Pepe. I'm just going to call you Pepe. I wonder if you're from these ends, and Pepe is not a funny name, but the currency suggests otherwise. I'm not sure. Maybe it is a funny name. In the Premier League, we've not beaten Manchester United since 2017. There's 9 games in a row, and in all competitions, we've only won 3 out of 15. And we have now at Old Trafford, I say now, but we have still not won there since 2013. So obviously, depending on how the fixture list goes next season, we might have not won at Old Trafford for over 10 years by the time we, play them there next in the Premier League. If it's again, obviously like this season, we play them in 2023 there again. It's just not good enough. Like, it absolutely is absolutely nowhere near good enough. And it's not like we lost every game. It's not like, they just dominated us every time. No. I swear, in all of these games since 2013, there was maybe 1 in there, in which maybe 2 in which we weren't the better team. I mean, we lost 1-4-0 under Lampard. And I to this day believe we were the better team on the day. Even though we lost 4-0, as stupid as that sounds, I totally understand that it sounds stupid, but we still kind of were the better team in a way. Obviously, things took a shift, but it took a shift late. And until that, we should have already been 3-0 up, really. And it just keeps happening this way. We should, we played a game, and no one would have had any issues with it if we won the game 3-4-0. That would have been perfectly justified on basis of performances of both teams. But we just don't take our chances. And we finally took one. Say, sometimes you don't take a chance. That happens. But the problem is, we don't take our chances and at the moment make at least one absolute stink of a defensive mistake a game. And the bigger the game, the more mistakes we make. And it just cannot keep happening that way. And as Indefinite says, I appreciate the donation as well, mate, saying Charity FC strikes again. This is killing me, bro. We are complete Charity FC. I mean, Roman Abramovich did ask another £500 million to, go to charity for the sale of Chelsea Football Club. So the boys thought they'd chip in as well. Like, it's just, my days, I just don't know what to think anymore. Like these lot, we're just so inconsistent. Like Kante, it's one of the best midfielders in the world when he's at it. And he actually played a very good game today. Again, some people might disagree with that. I thought he was actually very good. And then he has that mistake. He plays it out from the pressure, just punts it long to a Man United defender. And then they play it and it falls to him and he can't control it. It falls back into their path. It's one chip over the defense. I think Aspi was the guy that played Ronaldo on side. He should be doing better. I think Thiago Silva wasn't really aware what was that. Rudiger wasn't ready to cover Ronaldo, so there was miscommunication going on. And then Ronaldo's just a great finish. I guarantee if that ball falls to any of our players other than Reece James and Alonso, we don't score. We don't score. Like I say, it's just the story of our season. Gosh, 9 years, potentially 10 years now since we fought at Old Trafford. 9 games in the Premier League since we haven't beaten them. Why Man United? Like, do you have any idea why, especially them and Arsenal, even though obviously we beat Arsenal early in the season, but still, these two teams, they are supposed to be big teams. They are obviously big teams as the size of club. But we've been so far superior to them for years and years and years. And we just keep dropping points against them. Like, it's almost worse than it is against the Burnleys and Evertons and Wolves and, I don't know, than those kinds of teams of this world. Like, it's worse against them. Oh, fair enough, you'd say, oh, they're better teams. Yeah, but we almost dominate the games against Arsenal and Man United more than we do against some of these lesser sides, but we drop more points somehow.
Those are the questions. I mean, I shouldn't even say arguably. This is United's worst 10 years for like 50 years. And this is the time we can't get a win against them. Why do we drop points? I don't know why we drop points. I can't explain, especially when they're at home. Maybe it's just the way they defend and we can't break it down. I don't know. And the people saying
we just didn't take the job.
We can't execute. We can't execute for whatever reason. We play better than them every time. We had 65% possession. And yet the commentators after the game are saying United drop points. Not we drop points, United
what
drop
did
points.
I mean, I don't know what.
Tell me how that makes sense. How does that make sense when the commentators, we are by far superior to United, and it's not even close. Other than Liverpool and City, who, yeah, sure. I'd even put Liverpool on our level. City above us. United are like 5 tiers below us. And yet that's what they say. That's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for that. But I can't explain it. It's just whatever it is. The United mystique, I guess, where people or where our players go and it's Man United. No, they're still bad. They're still bad. Phil Jones outmuscled Romelu Lukaku today. Tell me how that makes sense.
And outran him on one occasion as well. That was quite funny.
Make that make sense.
Mate, I don't even know what to think, honestly. I mean, just that Pice is about to join us, actually, so that's brilliant. But before he's here, any explanation your end why that's what we do against Man United and Arsenal? Like, do you think it's a psychological thing? Is it just unlucky that it always happens to be those two? Or, like, what do you think?
Well, it's always psychological once it reaches that point, right? There's always doubt in your mind. So I can't really speak. I'm guessing there's different issues every game. There's not one general issue other than we don't play well there. And I'm not going to get into sports psychiatry and figure out why, because there's been so many different players through the years. So it's something bigger than that. On today's match, it just simply, we all got hyped when that front three were doing things.
When we scored 6 against Southampton, yeah, we all got hyped.
Southampton, they do that every year.
Yeah,
you catch them right, you get an early goal, and you can just shred them. That's not a very balanced front three, right? And I'm going to say Mount was in a front three because if it was a 1-2, he's still a cam. He's still an attacking player on the pitch. They just really don't work well. What Mount does well is arrive late, with the ball at his feet to shoot. He's not the best creative person in the world. We made runs, no passes. We made passes, no runs. So looked.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's important to say. Sometimes we make runs and then we don't pass, and then sometimes we would play a great pass and then the run isn't there. Exactly like you're saying, man. It's frustrating.
And so when you have that threesome together, which again, Werner is very, very limited. For all he does well, he is a limited player. And when you're playing against the low block, which they were today, even if they didn't want to be, we made them play in a low block because of all the pressure and the possession we had. Sometimes I think it would just be better to let them play and play on the counter, because the possession thing ain't working. We don't have the
I see that, but also our counterattack and our decision making when we try to counterattack is equally as bad as it is when we attack normally.
I can say one net toward the end, and this is not pro or against either of the players, but we were breaking out, and Pulisic had made a run, and I think Loftus-Cheek had the ball, and he slowed it down instead of playing him through. At that point, what's the problem with not just playing the ball through? If it's long, it's long, but do something.
I also don't understand the instructions for Ruben. Like, he comes on, and you can clearly see he tells Georgie, yeah, we're playing next to each other. And he basically doesn't move forward. Ruben was more defensive than Kante. And you could clearly see that it was instruction. I just don't understand. I'm so confused. Pice, thank you very much for joining us. We thought we'd miss you for a bit longer, but we're very happy that you're here as early as you are. But not a happy occasion again, unfortunately. We just bottle it again on both sides of the pitch.
I'm honestly beyond speechless, or near speechless. I thought it was a great performance. I thought we played really well. We was totally dominant. Reece James was outstanding on and off the ball. But again, bro, just that case, not putting the ball in the back of the net. I mean, we did once, but how many chances did we have? We had 21 shots. Havertz had big chances. There were so many chances where the cutbacks weren't precise. There was one where Werner nearly got on the end of the cross. It's just Old Trafford curse, I guess. That's what I'm putting it down to. It was just, I don't know how to explain that. Like, how do you watch that game and explain how we didn't win? It was the most one-sided performance I've ever seen in my life, away at Old Trafford. And again, we're a much better away team anyway. But to not win that game, it's lucky that we're 6 points ahead of Arsenal. We're not scrapping for top four. Because if we were scrapping for top four and drew that game, I'd be well annoyed. I'm annoyed anyway, but just because I always want to win. And the fact is, when you watch those games, those type of games, they don't come around very often where you're that dominant away from home and you don't win. Then obviously it's a bit frustrating. But yeah, I thought the team played well. It's just inconsistent attackers again and again and again. Decision making. That's all it comes down to, bro. Like, it's really, people try and overcomplicate it, I think, sometimes, but it just really is down to that final moment. I mean, we can get the ball up there. It's just when you're in the penalty box, near the penalty box, do we make the right decision? 90% of the time, no, we don't, and it costs us. Ronaldo needs one chance, he scores. How many chances do we have tonight? Loads. We scored one goal from our fucking left wing back. It's just,
but we also don't they also don't gift us chances like we gift them. Like,
yeah, 100% true.
Havertz 1-on-1, even that was probably more difficult because De Gea was closing the gap, right? The ball fell to Ronaldo in a way that he had a complete goal to shoot at with no worry of hitting the goalkeeper, essentially, because he was further away from the goalkeeper, right? But I mean, yeah, it's good goalkeeping as well. Fair enough from De Gea, but like, we gift these chances to everyone we play against. It doesn't matter, it's Brentford, it doesn't, it's Real Madrid, flipping whoever else we gift, like Man United at home, Man United away now. Like, we just keep doing that same shit over and over and over again. I mean, when we go to the lineup, I still don't understand when Ruben Loftus-Cheek doesn't play, but I will clearly have to hold the L. I was absolutely convinced Reece James would not be playing right wing back. I was clearly wrong. And he was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I'm not sure if people were unaware of that, but obviously I never doubted Reece James being amazing at right wing back. I just was so convinced of the fact that he always played right centre back the last few games and then missed the game that Tuchel wouldn't play right wing back for just the physical load, right? Clearly I was wrong. You can't tell Jorginho midfield. Then that front three, I mean, off the ball, it was a clear this. And on the ball, it was this, essentially, with Havertz dropping over to the left as kind of this left inside 10, whatever you want to call it, rather than the second striker. Obviously, on counter-attack, yeah, but like I say, on the ball, he certainly shifted over there. Aspie at right centre-back, no Chalobah, no Christensen. But much of a reaction to the team. I mean, it's basically our standard team if we don't have Kovacic and Chilwell. And then it's just a debate, is it Werner, is it Pulisic, really? If we're honest, yeah, some of you in the chat will say, oh, why not Kante? Some others of you will say, oh, why not Romelu Lukaku? Because on average over the season, these are, well, not Werner, that takes out of it, but the Werner and Pulisic is maybe the only one. But everything else kind of is probably our best team when we don't have Kovacic and Chilwell. But we just ain't consistent enough at all. Did anybody have much of a reaction to when they saw the lineup that wasn't like, yeah, fair enough? Like, that's what I tweet. Yeah, fair enough then. I mean, not much to complain. Obviously, I'm personally just like disappointed when Ruben doesn't play, but that's me personally. I'm not saying, oh, it's a wrong decision or whatever. Clutch, your reaction to when the team started? Of course, no Christian Pulisic on your end, but otherwise, as expected, really, I guess.
I mean, James starting right wing back shocked me. I mean, we've heard Tuchel say in the past that he didn't think James was fit enough to play over there, but maybe that was why he was left out over the weekend. But it's one of those things where, yes, in this particular game, I would have preferred Pulisic because I know how United are going to play against us.
Especially if we're going to force Havertz to be on the wing all the time.
Yeah, it's just like when Werner was down the middle, I was like, oh, well, this is going to be a bad day, isn't it? But everything else is probably about expected. Yeah, Aspie's pretty much always going to be on the field. Maybe he shouldn't be, maybe Chalobah, but
Aspie was absolutely amazing today, other than playing Ronaldo on side, I thought. Absolutely incredible.
Maybe. But yeah, other than that, really no surprises to me. I just thought Ruben would have played right wing back, but everything else.
There you go. Jester, what about you? Much of a surprise when the team came out? Not much. Well, I'm not sure, obviously, how you felt about the Reece James situation, whether you were confident that he would play right wing back, but otherwise, it's not much of a shock in there, really.
I mean, I thought he would. I didn't think he'd play. I thought it would be Ruben there just because I didn't know if he was feeling.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, feeling that he had a pull in his hamstring or a tightening of his hamstring, that we would be right back this soon. But hey, you can't. He was the man of the match for us, so you really can't blame that. You can't, blame that decision. He was great in the game. I don't like that front three. I don't care how well they played in one singular game. They don't work well together. They're not. They just don't sync. They don't mesh well. You have players that want to do the same thing. You need somebody that's going to get in the box, make the runs into the box when we have the ball on the edge, and be able to put the ball away. And we don't have very many of those people on the team. But we really can't complain. They're good enough to beat that Man U team. So
they clearly are, mate. They absolutely are. Pice, reaction on your end to the team? I mean, you were probably the one that was most. I mean, I convinced you in the end, but still, that's on me, not you. You were one of the ones that were mostly still thinking Reece James at right wing back, so you got that kind of right, I guess. But no shock in there. Maybe, I mean, all of us kind of were more leaning towards Pulisic and Werner, but we all said it's kind of like both decisions would be understandable, even if we all agree Werner is not as good.
Yeah, I think the only thing I was just questioning was obviously, well, to be fair, I did say I didn't want to see Kante play, but he did pretty well today. Granted, Man U really didn't have a good midfielding. Matic and McTominay is like one of the most static midfields ever, so it was no surprise to see
Kante. Probably their best player anyway.
Yeah, but he's slow, isn't he? Like, I mean, off the ball, Kante was running around him.
And that's how bad they were, that he was still their best player.
Yeah, but like he was just running rings around him. And then the only other one I did say, I think Pulisic should have started this game, but again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I mean, he got the winner last game. I think it would have been good for his confidence to start, but I mean, again, like there's also that debate of he does get so many goals off the bench, and like today we needed a goal, and he could have done the same again. But yeah, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. So yeah, overall, not really surprised with the team. Wasn't really many complaints from me. Expected Rudiger to start. Aspie at right centre back actually was one that I didn't think would happen. I thought if he played, it would probably be right wing back and then James at the back. But yeah, because I said I thought Chalobah played well last game, so I don't know. Maybe we'll see some rotation for. Do we play Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday.
Sunday. I mean, yeah. What's that like? 2 days? Yeah, we're going to see a rotated team for sure.
Yeah, probably. Let me get to this other super chat by Indefinite. Appreciate it very much as always, mate. Obviously, if any of you want to get your thoughts involved, and because obviously I read a lot of the chat, but I can't see every message. If you want to make sure it shows up and you really want us to discuss it or whatever, do use the super chat function. And he says, are we just in denial? We can't compete with Man City and Liverpool. We haven't been on the pace for 5 years now. We're used to fighting for top four. And to be honest, you're not wrong. Obviously, there's reasons for things. Obviously, after Conte's second season was an absolute stinker. We've made a few too many really bad signings. We had a transfer ban, and then we started focusing on young players. And that obviously takes time to get back to where we want to be, right? That's understandable to some extent. And obviously also injuries this season. But still, to some extent, and obviously with Rudiger leaving and us having to invest so much in the defensive areas of the pitch, I agree. We cannot compete. Maybe in 2-3 years' time, it's a different situation. Of course, Jurgen Klopp today extending his contract at Liverpool, so that's bad news, if you will. Clutch, do you agree? We cannot compete with them, or do you think there's more context required? Shall I say?
No, I do not think we can compete with them. I think City and Liverpool especially have been getting players that are ready-made. They're proven players. You got your Sadio Manes, who was proven. You got Mohamed Salah, who was proven in Italy when he came over. You got Kevin De Bruyne. All these players, they're not players that you have to grow. Our attack is just, that's what it is. We have to, Mason Mount 22, Pulisic 23, Kai Havertz 22. They're young. They're not ready. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. Timo Werner's 26, but we're not going to talk about that right now. That's why we bought Romelu Lukaku. He was 29. He's that experience of, got that experience. He's good, and that's what he can bring to the team. And we haven't seen it. And that's kind of the disappointing thing. City and Liverpool have that. They have experience and they have young talent. And they plan better. So I think we are on the way, but we're not there yet.
Hopefully, Jester. What's your thoughts on that super chat message?
Yeah, first of all, we have competed with them in one-off games, right?
Yeah.
If it's a one-off, we can compete with Man City and Liverpool. It's the C word, consistency. And when you have younger players, and we were meant to be bolstering these younger players with the likes of Romelu Lukaku this year.
And then the problem is they all flop.
Hakim Ziyech, who was, he's before Lukaku, he was the oldest player in attack, and he still might be. Except for Giroud, of course, Ziyech, but he's not on the team now. So, but they're not even turning up. I think
Ziyech isn't even getting game time, to be fair.
Right, but he hasn't exactly been.
No, of course.
Pulling up the carpet when he's been starting. So I'm not bothered by that, but they just have older players that are more consistent, and that's what we're lacking, is that consistency. In this game, Man City or Liverpool would have put at least 3 or 4 past United. They were that open, but we didn't. Not consistent enough. So
no, I couldn't agree more, mate. Absolutely. And Pies, your thoughts, your reaction, similar to the guys or anything different?
100% consistency. I mean, so many times this season I've said the manager's coached the 3-4-0. I mean, even in the Champions League final, like I know he won, but do you remember how many chances Werner had? And just in general, we could have been 3-0 up in 30 minutes against Man City in the Champions League final. Like, I just don't know what it is. We don't win games consistently enough, and that's shown with the amount of draws we've had this season. We have chances to win the games, and We just don't do it. There's too many draws this season that I'd like. I think this has got to be, must be one of the seasons where we've had our most draws as a team. It's actually ridiculous. Just from thinking of it in my head, it's crazy how many we've had. And yeah, I mean, what can you do? Do you persist with the same lot, or do you go again? Do you look into the market again? Do you look for some more, I don't know, less younger players, but still with talent? You've got your mic muted, by the way, bro.
Sorry, yeah, good point. Like Jester said, though, the one not young players we did sign for the attack, Lukaku and Ziyech, they haven't worked the way we hoped they would.
It seems like, like we signed Silva, like defensive signings, I trust us with, but attack, it's just I don't know what it is, bro. Like tonight, yeah, but with Sa, it was kind of like a Luis was quality. I rated Luis.
His second
But
stint?
anyway,
baller.
But anyway, what I was thinking of, especially in tonight's game, bro, like remember that one instance where Havertz was through and we had a 2-on-3 or a 3-on-2, and he tried to pass to Kante, and he just
waited too long on the hit it, yeah.
Just stuff like that, like City, Liverpool, even Arsenal, they bury that chance, bro. They've got those attackers. It's like, why is Kante even there in the first place? Like, that's another question. Where's Werner? Like, I mean, Werner was on the other side, but like, why is the front three not in that position? Why is Kante in that position?
It was a counter attack, I guess.
It's just, I don't understand. There's been too many games.
And we had another one. Like Havertz had one a bit earlier where maybe he could have tried to cross it to Alonso at the far post, who came up. Alonso never seen him run that past in my life from that counter attack. The pass to Werner was maybe a bit blocked, but we just don't take these jumps. That's what I meant when Jester said earlier. Maybe we should just give them the ball, because I arguably trust us less to score from counter attacks than I do from just trying to break a team down slowly, if I'm honest.
Lauren, I've got to the point with this team, it's like, I actually don't care who starts anymore, because in those forward areas, you're just picking out of a hat at what's going to happen in the game. They've all got different attributes, but when you want them in front of goal, like when you play Lukaku, he doesn't get the chances, majority because it's himself, he doesn't put himself about enough and stuff like that. Pulisic, Ziyech, Havertz, Mount, Hudson-Odoi, they're all the same. They can be good, they can be bad, they can miss chances, they can score, it's just so fucking inconsistent. I'm just fed up of it. I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I don't know if I have any favourites. I like these players, but we're not going to catch City and Liverpool with these players if they continue to be the same. So this is a job for the new owners. This is a job for the board. I was going to say the scouting system, but that needs to be revamped, because obviously the players we sign, a big problem as well is some of these signings are from different managers as well. Like, they suit different styles of play, they suit different systems. It's just it's a mess. And the odd time it does look good, we don't win the games. So it's like, I'm lost for words, honestly. I swear to God, if we go to Everton and we draw or lose and we have that same domination, those same chances, I'm gonna fucking flip shit.
Against Everton, if we don't dominate, I'll flip my shit even if we win.
I can't deal with it anymore. I cannot deal with these fucking attackers.
And you know what I can't deal with? It's comments like this, because you absolute clown. As if we weren't inconsistent under Lampard, under Sarri, under Mourinho, under Conte in this second season, as if we aren't consistent on every manager. What is this
one
kind
of the
comment?
best?
Like,
I'm sorry, the three teams this manager has managed, he's been known for his attack, not the defense. His attacking patterns, his attacking play. These guys are not good enough.
Different leagues.
True, but they're not. They're young and they're inconsistent. That's the problem. You cannot blame the manager. On certain occasions, yes. Maybe on certain occasions you play the wrong front three, or you don't play like.
Just blame the whole problem on
like for example, you play West Ham. I think Ziyech could have come on earlier. We were struggling, right? But in a lot of the games, it's just up to the fucking attackers. We create the chances. Like,
we do.
Wasn't this the opinion last year? Like, it was. We was very, very happy, but we just couldn't score the goals, and it's the same this year.
There you go. Let's get to these player ratings, because otherwise we'll be here all night long. Mendy's is pretty simple. I just give him a 6. I didn't have too many complaints with the passing. At the very end, I'm like, why didn't you start a counter attack? Why did you wait? But and I don't think he can do anything about the goals. I'm just going to give him a simple 6. There's not much pro, not much con to say. Pice, when I start with you, do you agree?
I think he could have done better on the goal, honestly.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, he could have rushed out more. I'm sorry.
Maybe that, yeah,
Mendy,
maybe.
I think last season he rushes out to that and actually makes a good save.
I think he never rushed. I think that's the one thing he doesn't. He hesitates too much on personally.
What about Brentford this season? Remember when he rushed out for that shot, which he saved with his chest? It's a good finish, but
to outside the box he does rush, but once he's in the box, he stays on this line all the time.
I just think, I don't know, he could have made himself a bit bigger. Like he was a bit stagnant, but good finish. I mean, again, you give Ronaldo a chance to be a goal.
Really, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Average 6, yeah. I was going to say he was all right with the ball, but he did have one heart attack moment where he fucking just give the ball to, I can't remember who it was.
Jorginho, and then Jorginho put it to Alonso, and then Alonso got tackled by Bruno. Yeah.
No, there was one where there was one where I think he gave it to Alanga, and then he played a ball, and we just got the ball back, but that could have been horrible against a bigger team.
I missed that one.
I watched it. I was like, he tried to play it out to Alonso, and I was like, what the fuck was that pass? Awful.
Fair enough. Yeah, and Rudiger, apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, the agreement between Antonio Rudiger and Real Madrid will be signed in the next few days as expected. Hey, can you focus on playing for Chelsea, not give stupid fouls away? Because that's what he did way too much of today. Clutch, 6 for Mendy, or do you think maybe could the fact that he could have done a little bit better for the goal puts him down from that?
See, my head says he could do a little bit better for the goal, but I don't know. I'm gonna give him a 5.5. That's what I'm gonna do. I need him to straighten up.
Fair. Jester, what about you? 6 or maybe 5.5, potentially even low? Obviously, I know some people see the 5 as the average. We mostly probably go for the 6 just because 5.5 looks stupid, even though, if anything, that's probably the fairest middle. But what do you think?
Yeah, he's been very timid to come off his line since Real Madrid. Or actually, basically, since he's been back from international break. He's been very, very... He does not want to come off that line. Unless, it's a sure thing. So 6 is fine. I'm not going to talk much on it. He didn't have much to do. The goal really wasn't his fault. 6.
Fair dues. I mentioned him already, the man that's on his way to Real Madrid. What do you make of his performance? He had some lovely switch balls. Not as many as Thiago Silva, but still some nice switch balls in there. He had one really bad run, like he goes on his runs. That was awful because he ended it with a really bad pass to absolutely nobody. He took one of his insane shots, put it 5 yards over, and he gave away in the dying minutes when we were chasing a goal. He gave away 2 really stupid fouls. But obviously, could he have done a bit better with the whole Ronaldo position because it was half of our left defensive side? So isn't that his man? Kind of, maybe. I'm gonna give him a 6 as well. I don't think it was great. But I don't think it was bad, if that makes sense. Jess, I want to go with you first on this one. Do you think 6 is a bit harsh for myself, or would you go along with it potentially?
I'd say 6.5, just because he played some nice balls, but he fouled way too much. He was way over aggressive, and this is why I don't think he works very well in the back 4. It's because he's too aggressive, and he can get turned and spun.
Okay, fair dues. Clutch, what about you? 6, 6.5, what we've had so far? What are you going to go with?
I'm going to go with the 6. The way he kind of played just seemed like his head wasn't in it today. I mean, he played some nice long balls, yeah, but he made really stupid fouls and some of the worst time. Like, at the end of the game, it pretty much killed our chances of going back.
We wasted ourselves to stop us from doing anything at the end of the game. Like,
and
it was so annoying.
We even gifted Alanga like 5 minutes on the ground for a head injury because of it. So,
yeah, just because he always does his mental things. Do your mental things, it's fine, but not if it costs us time on the pitch, man.
Yeah, so I'm going to go a little bit lower and say 6.
Okay, Pice then. 2 6s and 1 6.5. What are you going to go with for Rudiger?
6.5. Don't quite agree that his head wasn't in it. I thought it was very much in it.
No. I wasn't.
I think his. No, I think Clutch said that.
Okay,
I very much said that.
Yeah. No, his head definitely was in it.
I never believed that for any footballer, by the way. I also didn't think it for Christensen the other week. But
yeah. he was very, very good on the ball, so that's why I'm going 6.5. But yeah, he did make some stupid fouls. I mean, I'm sorry, but that one bit of dribbling from Mata where Pulisic and Rudiger was, like, how the fuck did he sprint past both of them and then Rudiger just fouled him? Like, he's 34 for fuck's sake. Like, oh my god.
And
But
he was
yeah,
slow at the best of times.
I know, that's just ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, people were having a go at him for that high boot, but it was a bit of a stupid way to clear it. And like when you was watching it on TV, I was like, he's gonna do something. Like he doesn't look comfortable here. And maybe he was a bit on edge tonight, but overall, I think that ball to Havertz, I'm not sure if it was a miscontrol. It was hard, but that was a good ball.
It's a
Yeah.
good ball, but it's not a ball where you're like, something has to come from that, I reckon.
Yeah, but it's like nice to see that invention though, because some centre backs, they just pass it sideways, and he's 140.
And that's why it sometimes frustrates me when I know he scored one, but that's why it sometimes frustrates me when he goes for the shot, because I'm like, you can play those passes, so why shoot? Sometimes I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, he always has one a game. This one went into the stand, so I'll give him a 6.5.
The whole high boot thing is a tough one for me because he was clearly the one going for the ball, and it's a high boot, but at the same time, it's also a foul for Malanga because it was very obviously it was going to do it, and Malanga just runs into him. So on the one hand, you can kind of give a foul, or even maybe if we're unlucky, a yellow card for Rudiger, and then it will be second, or you give a free kick for us because Malanga just clattered into Rudiger essentially and hurt himself by doing so. Matic, in my opinion, should have been sent off. Never that red card will never be given at Old Trafford. But he clearly, purposely just stepped on Reece James' ass. No idea how everyone, I know some of the players obviously know him still from playing with us, but Reece James, when Matic got subbed off, Reece James was all best friends with him again. I'm like, come on, you just stepped in your asshole. Why are you happy with him? I don't understand. But ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 6s and 2 6.5s. So there is a poll option at the top of the chat. Please pick your choice in terms of which one of these 2 ratings you would like to go with. So far, the 6 is just about winning. Well, I say just about. It's 61-39, but I need more of your votes, ladies and gentlemen. We have 185 people here. First of all, subscribe and like. And also, please, put your decision, I guess, your vote into the poll. So far, it's 45 people, so please get that up. For the time being, I'll leave it undecided, but I'll give you a bit more time. And then we will put the final rating up on screen. Thiago Silva next to him. Now, for me personally, very good. Very, very good. I don't think there's much I can complain about. A little bit like with Rudiger, maybe he could have done a bit better with that Ronaldo thing because he came through between them. But otherwise, he controlled it well. Some of his passes were unbelievable. One, he ever so slightly overhit to Reece James. And I know we only do 1-1, but I'm going to go with quite high ratings for the defenders and midfielders today. You might not be happy with me for doing that, but I don't care. I'm going to give him an 8. I think it was very, very good. I know Jester is always one of the advocates for saying if you don't win, you can't have high ratings. Fair enough. But if we can't do it, what's the point of doing individual ratings, is my opinion, because otherwise we just give out the overall rating because we won or didn't win. At that point, who cares? So that's why, I'm still going to give him a high rating because I think it was very good. I'll be happily convinced into a 7.5 or whatever, but I'm going to start it off with an 8. Clutch, what about you? Do you think 8 is a bit too high, or would you go along with it potentially?
I'm going to go 7.5. I think he was one of the better players in that back 3, if not the best player. I thought
Sorry,
he
what
dealt
did
with.
you say there? Sometimes you say it at the start, sometimes you say it at the end.
7.5.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he probably should have watched Ronaldo a little bit on the goal. I think he has a little bit of fault for that. I'm going to go 7.5. Other than that, he was pretty good.
There you go. Fair play. The poll still at 55% 6 and 45% 6.5. But ladies and gentlemen, keep voting, please, so we can move on and can end that poll. I will keep your super chat, Cameron, start here so I don't forget it when we get to talking about Kai Havertz. I will highlight it again then. So 7.5 and an 8 so far. Pice, what about you?
Oh, Mike was off. I'll go with an 8. I think he was very good. I think we have to be cautious that obviously we had we had 65% possession, but it honestly felt like 80% possession.
Yeah.
It felt like we hardly lost the ball. But the one thing obviously Silva is very good at is using the ball well. Yeah, I think he progressed it nicely. It didn't take as long as he did in the West Ham game. I thought, we popped it about really well, but obviously we had the width. We just played really well. So other than the goals, obviously, yeah, I pretty solid defensively. I'll have to watch the goal back again because kind of just came very, very quick to me. But yeah, overall, I think he was pretty good.
There you go. Jester, then, do you reckon day is too high, or would you potentially go along with it as well?
Yeah, I'm going for a 7. They didn't have anything to do, and they gave up a goal.
Well, whenever he did, I thought he cleared it, but no, it's fair. It's fair.
Well, I thought he had Ronaldo on lockdown on the long balls, but he's always good at that. And I just felt that for the one thing they had to do, they didn't do it, and that was the one chance they had, they put away. And it came between Rudiger and Silva, so I can't say he played a beautiful game, but the run that was made was in between him and Rudiger. That doesn't jive with me. So I'm going to go 7, still above average score, and not many people, nobody in the front line will be getting that. So
no, for sure not. Aspilicueta, I said it already earlier. I thought, other than playing Ronaldo onside, so it's weird how all 3 of the defenders could kind of done better for the goal. Aspi not playing him onside, Rudiger and Thiago Silva not letting him run between them, and still the guy that was most at fault was N'Golo Kante. But yeah, I thought other than that moment, Aspilicueta was absolutely incredible. I mean, his work rate, he was playing right centre back, and he was pressing at the edge of the Man United box. I was so happy with him today. In every sense of the word, I'm going to go at 8.5. Obviously, I know people might say, "Oh, it's too high again." I don't care. I really was super, super happy with him, and I was super pleased to see him play in that right centre back spot again, because I think the amount of times he's played at right wing back now has made people forget how good he is actually at right centre back. The fact that people say, "Oh, play Christensen, play Chalobah," they have the height advantage, of course. I get that, and maybe some pace advantage as well. But neither of them are anywhere near him in terms of work rate, in terms of fight, in terms of positioning, if I'm honest. Like, they're just nowhere near. And tackling, both of them are nowhere near him. And I'm very happy that he got to show that again today. Of course, again, the pace sometimes can catch him out 100%. But, people can't necessarily control their pace. You're born with it or you're not. Of course, a bit of it, but especially when you get older, it is what it is. Jester, I'll let you go first on this one. Do you think I went way too high on this one?
yeah, I think you're a little bit in left field, but that's okay. Hey, we all watch the game and have our own take on it.
There you
So
go.
for me, he was a 7. I can't. Again, as well as you played, if you played the man on side that scored the goal that led us to a draw, I can't give you a super high score, because whatever you do going forward, you're defender first. And two of the 3 center backs were in line. He wasn't. Now, some can say he was onside anyway, but again, 7.
Was he onside even if Aspie had the line? Did Rudiger and Thiago play him onside?
I don't know. But you did it. It didn't matter if they had played him off. Aspie was still going to play him on. He was that far, much more. He was that much more deeper than those two. So.
But at the same time, you can also switch it the other way around completely. If Thiago Silva and Rudiger are the same step back that Aspie was, they probably stop Ronaldo from getting to the ball. So yes, it's onside, but it's also, if both of them step deeper, they can probably stop Ronaldo. So
Well, I go with the majority there. The majority was in one line, and so the minority has to be the one that's not correct.
Oh, well.
I just because
I get your logic completely, but I'm not sure if we can apply it and because what 2 people just do something wrong, and then just because it was 2 people that did it, it's right. Nah, but I still know what you mean. 7 and 8.5, so quite a bit of a gap so far. Let's see what the other boys think. Pies, do you fall in between that potentially, or what did you make of Aspie?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of fall in between that. I was gonna give him a 7.5.
So you thought he was worse than Thiago because you gave Thiago an 8?
Yeah, I did. I just felt Thiago, for me, was more involved, especially on the ball. I noticed him more personally watching the match.
Oh yeah, on the ball.
Aspie was hard working, yeah, but I don't know. I just felt like a lot of the attacks they did have didn't really come down on his side. I mean, again, he was doing well passing the ball to Reece James and stuff, but it was literally all Reece James down that side for me. But yeah, if Aspie's going to play, I don't mind him in this position. I much prefer him here than wing back, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. I think we all agree on that one. Okay, then. 1 7.5, 1 7, and 1 8.5. Clutch, are you going to fill the full house, even though it's only 4, and go 8, or you're going to go something different?
Yeah, why not? I'm going to give him an 8. I think him and Thiago Silva probably played about the same, but I gave him a 7.5, didn't I? So no, I'm going to go 7.5 for Aspie because I think they were about the same. Aspie dealt with Marcus Rashford, which isn't really that hard these days. Even stopped him from doing his little trickery. So yeah, I was happy with Aspie today, but I want to save a special rating for somebody else later. So
fair dues. And also, if you said 8, I would have had to do another poll. So this way simpler, we just have 7.5. Marcos Alonso, the goal scorer of the day, great finish. And I thought had a very good game. Didn't get marked off defensively, was getting stuck in, was showing pace I haven't seen before ever, basically. And I thought was just playing very good. On one occasion, he really messed up quite late when we were obviously chasing that goal and he had a cross and what an awful cross. But outside of that, I thought he was very, very good. I really did. I'm going to give him the same 8.5 as I gave Aspie. Obviously, he scored. But I think otherwise, there was moments where I wasn't quite as happy with him, but I still think overall he was very, very good. Fair enough, you guys might go lower again. I will get to my low ratings. Don't worry, they will come. So I'm not going to go over the board on everything, on everyone. But for the defenders and midfielders, I was just happy with. What can I say? Pies, but I'll let you go first on this one. I'm not sure if you have gone first. Again, do you think I've gone way too high, or do you think the goal and the general performance warrants about that rating?
It's very hard because, I mean, on the ball he was good, but we just had so much space. I mean, he was constantly overlapping and stuff, which is what a wing back should do.
That we had space.
No, it's not his fault, but I just I don't know. He got the goal. I'm stuck between an 8 and an 8.5. I think he was very good, but I can't remember. I'm trying to think. There was one occasion in my head. Oh yes, we had a attack, and he was. I know he doesn't have the most pace, but I don't know why he received the ball on his left foot. Instead of trying to drive forward, hold off his man, and shoot across goal, he cut back onto his right foot, started running towards the middle of the pitch, and then passed it out wide. Like, he completely ruined a potential goal scoring opportunity. That was in the second half, and I remember it very, very, very well. And that I remember because I was like, well, fuck, like I went mental.
Yeah, he could have crossed it to Alonso, to Lukaku at the far post for sure, yeah.
I don't even know if that's the one I'm talking about, but he ended up cutting in, came back through and passed it out wide. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you literally had open space. It's almost like he saw the guy behind him, thought, oh, fuck this, I ain't going to outrun him, get to goal, so I'm just going to go the other way and pass it. Like,
but if he knows that he's not going to get past him, then isn't that the smart decision?
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's what I hoped in some way he would think. I don't know, but you know what I mean? If that's what
I agree with you completely, but I guess if he knows he's not going to beat him, then it is probably better to not try it, I guess.
It's just a massive problem for me. Like, I don't know. We just had so many killed attacks tonight. But he did score. I'll give him an 8. Yeah, an 8. I think all round he was. Actually, I'll give Silva an 8, but he's on 7.5 anyway, so I'll go 8.
Fair dues. Jester, what about you? 8.5 so far. Do you think the goal warrants that high of a rating, or would you still go a bit lower?
7.5, 6.5 on play. He got the goal. 8, so 7.5.
I know you've got to go in 10 minutes. Let me just let Clutch on this one, and then you can rattle through the rest of your ratings so we have your thoughts before you need to head off. Clutch then, a 7.5, an 8, and an 8.5. Are you going to swing it either way, or are you going to go for that 8?
I'm going to go for the 8. You want to know how bad United were today? Alonso dribbled past them. That's how bad they were.
Yeah. I can't even say it's wrong. There's not really much more to add. You know what? Let's get Reece James out of the way. I think with your 10 minutes after Reece James, I think it works out perfectly. Clutch, why don't I stick with you? Reece James, basically a one-man show that was just missing the cherry on top of the icing with that left-footed goal. And someone said in the chat earlier, if that was someone other than Reece, we'd be screaming at him because it's a sitter. And I agree, it is a sitter. I know weak foot. I don't care. I explained it earlier already. I think Pies might not have been here yet. I don't care if he decided to go for the left foot shot. He didn't have to. He could have gone right foot as well. He had the time and space, but he didn't. So it has to be a goal, and that has to be a win. But everything else he did, other than one occasion when Ronaldo tried the overhead kick and he was way too slow to run back. Otherwise, perfect. Like, what a performance, man.
Agreed. Everything went through Reece James today. Everything. He was the guy dictating the show. It didn't matter. He was the only guy out there. And the reason why I didn't want to go so high for everybody is I want Reece James to be like at least a point above everybody. I'm going to give him a 9. I would have given him a 9.5. What do you mean that face? What's that face? He literally is he's the reason we created like 90 opportunities. He's the sole reason.
Yeah, he was amazing today. I can't lie.
Sure, we didn't get the win at the end of the day, but it's not his fault we didn't get the win.
Well, partly.
All the other parts, what more can he do? He has like 7 crosses.
Bro, he had 10 crosses today. We've got to score at least one of them. They were disgusting balls. There was not one ball that I can remember that was bad.
A couple that weren't amazing, but in general, like out of those 10, there was definitely 7 good ones.
He created 4 chances. 4 chances from a right wing back. That's ridiculous. I don't care how much space he had. Any one man of the match. He ranked first in like all of our key stats and stuff like that. Because that came up on Sky Sports. Yeah, it came up first and everything. He at least deserves a 9. Come on. Jesters, come on, bro. You're making that face. What is this?
Go on, Jester.
Come on.
Go on.
If anybody should be praised
What
today,
do you really want to say?
If anyone.
What do you want to say, Jester? Come on.
Bruh.
But I find it hard to give somebody a high rating like that when they weren't involved in the scoring.
But he created all the
He
chances.
was involved in the goal we did score, to be fair.
Again, I'm talking about assist or goal, not second assist. The ball he played to somebody's sister's brother's uncle. I'm talking about goals and assists. It's hard for me to give Reece a 9. He was fantastic. I would give him. See, I went with Alonso with a 7.5. With all that being said, I'm going to give him an 8.5. That's as high as I can go.
There you go. See, Jester's always here for the content. He will throw a little bit of a face in there just to make him more dramatic. And in the end, 0.5 off. I love it. Pies, a 8.5 so far.
I just don't get it.
9, will you go even higher? What do you think?
I just don't get it. Like, with that logic, you can play the most ridiculous pass in the world, but if someone else doesn't score it, you don't get the higher rating. Like, I don't get that. Like, how does that not come into your thinking? He created those chances.
No, I understand that, but I give a half a point for an assist unless it's an amazing assist, and an extra point for a goal. Okay, that's how I rate. 8.5 is a huge. I mean, that's the best player on the pitch.
He was at least a point better than Alonso. Everything went through him. Everything. It was literally Reece James.
7.5, so
it was literally.
I gave him a 7.5. It's a point better.
But,
okay, fair enough.
Pies,
what?
Would you go a 9? Would you go even higher than a 9? Or what do you think?
I would go for a 9. I was thinking 9.5, but it doesn't really matter. Like, everyone's going to outvote me. He was near perfection today. Yeah, what else can I say? Like, I find that extremely harsh that you think that's a sitter. That was going to be an incredible goal. It wasn't. It would
have been an incredible goal because he took it so far to the post. He didn't have to. There was plenty of space to put it in easier.
It made more sense coming onto the shot with that left foot. Like, I don't agree.
It made more sense, but he wasn't forced to it.
In my opinion, with the angle of the shot,
outside of the boot goals.
He's not going to hit that with his left foot unless he feels it's absolutely necessary because he does everything with his right foot. Like, I think that's
left foot, which finally a player that backs their weak foot. Like, I'm not even critical of that at all.
Exactly, bro. Like the flick from Havertz as well. That would have been honestly one of the goals this season from us, just because of the way it happened. Like, it would have been so nice to watch, but yeah, I think that's a bit harsh that it's a sitter. Honestly, I'm still giving him a 9.
Bro, I will give him a 9 as well. I think he was that good that even though I do think it was a sitter, I will give him a 9. Again, and that one defensive moment, but otherwise you couldn't do much more. He was bullying everybody. He was being the best player. There was one moment where he had enough and even went into midfield and did the whole thing by himself. What a player, man. What a player. But Jester, because you need to head off in a couple of minutes, you just want to, I mean, you can,
Yeah, I can
either
go
give
through
me
them
your
real quick.
general opinions of what you still have, or you can give me the rating for all of the rest of the players. Up to you, mate.
I can go through them real quick. I have them in my head.
Go on.
It's
Let's
like
do
that's all
Kante
that's up there. So 7.5 for Kante,
Okay.
7.5 for Jorginho. I'm not going to go into y'all will go into the
Details
whys
of it,
and
yeah.
whys not. Mount,
Mason?
I'll give a 6-2.
Okay.
And then Werner and Havertz are both getting 5s.
Fair enough. Do you want to do the subs as well, or do you think they came on too late? To, get a rating?
Lukaku a 5, Pulisic a 6, and Ruben an A. He only got 8 minutes.
There you go. Fair enough. I think that does sound reasonable. Jester, I appreciate you very much for coming on such on notice. I mean, in the end, we sit here as 5 people anyway, 4 people anyway. But at that time, I had no idea that Pies would be here so soon. So I appreciate you very much for coming on such on notice. Have a great rest of your day. Everybody, check out Jester's on Twitter, please. He's a funny guy to follow, I'm telling you. So get involved with that. Jester, appreciate you. Take care, man. Thanks,
sir. Y'all have a good one.
Cheers. Take care. All right, boys. Let's take it to those midfielders. Jester gave the Kante and Jorginho both 7.5. I don't think it's too far off the mark, personally. I think they were both pretty good. The question is that I'm not sure about if we go for Ngolo first. Would I think he was good enough that he gets a 7.5 despite the double error? Because that's the thing. It wasn't just one error. It was a double error that cost us that goal. Because we have a throw-in, right? Alonso throws it to Kante. Kante gets the ball. He punts it for whatever reason, instead of just switching it to Reece James, who, I mean, I didn't see it on camera, but how likely is it that Man United have Reece James parked on that side of the pitch when they're pressuring us by the throw-in? So the likelihood of Reece James being completely unmarked is like 99.9% here. He punts it long straight to the United player. Then it comes back to him and he can't control it. It falls back to Bruno Fernandes, I think it was, who chips it, and then Ronaldo obviously scores. So I'm going to say 7. I think his performance was an 8, but I think that double error takes away a full point, and therefore I'm going to say 7. That's what I'm going to go for. Clutch. What about you?
I'm going to go with a 7.5. I agree with all what you're saying. Didn't he have the pass that he made earlier on to Kai? Wasn't he the guy who passed the ball to Kai that Kai should have put away?
I have no idea, if I'm honest. It might have been.
Yes, he did. He played the ball.
Yeah.
He played the ball, yes.
He did. Fair.
So, I mean, that was like a direct contrast from what we were saying against whoever it was. I don't remember. But, yeah, I thought overall he was a lot better today. I'd give him a 7.5. Probably an 8 if he didn't have those 2 mistakes, because that ball was not intercepted. I'm sorry. It was just a bad pass. That's all it was. Just a bad clearance straight to a defender, and then just didn't close him down after he got the tackle and didn't go back for it. So, yeah, those were 2 bad mistakes, in my opinion, that led to the goal. So I'm going to give him a 7.5.
Fair. And yeah, Dexter is right. Actually, it was Nemanja Matic, not Bruno Fernandes, who got the assist. Pies then. A 7.5 from Jester, 7 from myself, a 7.5 from Clutch. Where are you going to go?
It's one of those two. He was very good on the ball. He should have had an assist. But I don't know. Kind of leaning towards what you said more, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of the comments going 8.5 because he bossed the midfield. But again, I mean, name me a worse combination for what they are right now than Matic and McTominay. Like, Matic is good on the ball, but off the ball, I mean, Kante's running around for fun. McTominay's shit. So, I mean, how much do you put towards, how much is United's midfield tax compared to...
Add Fred.
I actually think, well...
Fred's been pretty good this season.
Yeah, Fred's been pretty good.
But he wasn't available.
No, he wasn't available. But, yeah, 7. I don't know, 7.5. Go on, fuck it.
I said 7.5 for the end anyway. Well, I did put a poll out already because I thought you'd agree, you'd go for the 7 and then we'd have it 50-50. But fair enough. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, now I've started the poll already. You might as well put your vote in there.
I think the the potential assist is kind of swaying me. I know, obviously, defensively he did make that error, but yeah, the assist, the potential assist, because of what
He
it
went
was.
off.
And
The only problem why I would love to agree with that. We
also,
did get a goal, right? Obviously later, but we did get a goal. And we threw it away 2 minutes later anyway. So even if Kai scores, who knows whether we don't just throw it away 2
Wait
minutes
a
later
minute.
anyway.
I just remembered he had the shot at the beginning of the game that he put right at De Gea that he should.
Yeah, that wasn't a good shot. Like,
that
it was
is
a good
true,
chance.
but
Yeah,
it's
I'm
kind
gonna-
I Kante is not the play I'm going to be harsh for. He took a shot. It was on target, had good power on it. Not enough placement, but I'd rather that than Rudiger shooting from 30 yards and putting it 10 yards over.
I was just going to mention as well, there was a couple, I think 2 or 3 moments where I think it was defending from corners. He was like the last man back, and I thought he dealt really well with the 1v1s. He kind of got past, I think it was Bruno a couple of times. Like, he didn't panic and stuff, so that goes into it as well, I guess, because you can easily, just crack under pressure, but dribbling wise today, much more like the old Kante, much more active, much more noticeable. So, yeah.
100%. Also, how what I want to quickly talk about this. Obviously, we're going to get to Jorginho in a second, but finally, and I don't understand why we haven't done this until now. Finally, we played Kante on the left of the two and Jorginho on the right, because it makes our midfield so much more balanced. Because you have Kante's extra pace to help Alonso on the left side, and you have Reece James on the right side to help Jorginho's lack of pace. Like, it works so much better 9 times out of 10 when Jorginho and Kante play. Jorginho is the left one, Kante's the right one. It always is. And I never understand. Like, I just don't get it. I just do not get it. It makes so much more sense this way. And finally we did it. That's in my opinion, why both Kante, Jorginho, James, and Alonso were all good. I honestly believe that. I cannot believe it took us this long to do it, but I'm happy we did it. Again, guys, in the chat, there's the poll. If you're on your phone, just click on the chat below if you haven't got it open already, if you're just watching along and you're not particularly vocal. So please put your vote in there. We've got 41 so far and 160 people watching. So get involved and see it there. Even though I've now been outvoted 3 to 1 on this 7.5, but I thought Pice was going to go 7. So now I might as well put it to you. And currently on those 46 votes, very close. It's 48% for the 7 and 52% for the 7.5. So put your thoughts in there, please. Pice, though, I'll stick with you. Jorginho next to him. Would you agree on the same rating like Jester did, or do you think it was maybe a tad better or a tad worse?
I thought Jorginho was pretty decent today, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was better, but I didn't think he was worse. No, you know what? Jester's probably right, actually. I probably would go 7.5. He was good on the ball. I think he did win quite a few 50-50s, which sometimes, he just doesn't, and he's too weak and shit like that, gets dragged off the ball. But I can't remember too much that he did wrong. I feel like there's something, like there was a moment, but
He skied a shot, but that's about the only thing I can remember.
Jorginho took a shot?
Yeah, he took like a 25-yard shot from the edge of the box after, because he got the ball from a corner and he just launched it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a bit annoying.
I
But
remember that.
yeah, that was it was a volley that was very annoying. Like, he was trying to do a Kovacic against Liverpool, but from like the opposite side and 35 more yards out. Chester's comment.
What he said?
Oh,
Pice
God.
said I was right. Time to retire now.
Fuck's sake. Yes, bro, we agree on something.
There you go.
Yeah,
Fair
I go
enough.
7.5.
Fair.
It's just solid game. I don't think it was. I don't think it was amazing, but they both did really well. So yeah.
Yeah, I was happy. Like, in terms of, he looked sharper, fresher than he did for a few weeks recently. He played some good forward passes, which I was happy with. So yeah. But Clutch, would you go along with that 7.5 as well?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, I don't remember anything terrible that he did. I remember he also he was the guy who got fouled when they were on there, like when they were doing a lot of pressure on us up front or back behind, when they actually did try to press us a little bit, and he took a foul to kind of relieve that. So I think that was really good. Other than that, not too many moments. I thought he was good, but it wasn't the good that I would prefer from him with like progressive passing. It was just quicker passing. I think that's what it was today. I think he passed a little bit quicker than he normally does.
Maybe so, and I'm sure he was also to some extent helped by Reece James and Alonso having good games. That makes it easier for any defender, for any midfielder to play it about. Now we've at 64 votes, and we're at exactly 50-50 between Kante getting a 7 or 7.5. Now it's back to 51% to 7.5. So I'll leave this be for a bit until we have a disagreement. I was going to give Jorginho 7.5 the same, even though I gave Kante a 7 because I think Kante was actually better, but made the mistake, hence why I would have given him 7. And I think Jorginho was a 7.5. It was a good game, just a very good game. I was pretty happy with it overall. Someone put it in the chat just here. Where can I see it? Who mentioned it? Who mentioned it? Oh yeah, Fantasy PGA Tour. Appreciate your comment. What do you guys think about Georgie wanting to leave as well? Apparently, I mean, first of all, Pies, is that Nizar Quintela, I think, from goal.com report enough for us to think that that's true? Because
well,
how often does something get reported by one person?
We've known this for the last two.
Believe it's true.
We've known this for the last 2 years ananyway that he was going to go back to Italy at some point. Like, this is not like a new report.
Well, now we know it's now, I guess, or apparently.
Yeah, but then it makes sense for him to go now because I mean Tuchel doesn't want the contract issue, so sell him now instead of losing him for free the next year. Cash
I really
in on
wonder
him.
how much money we'd get for him. What do you reckon? Like 30 million?
I think 30 to 35 million personally.
If you have that money, yeah.
Yeah, I think they would spend on him because Jorginho is such an attraction for the way the Italian league, the way they play. Still a good player for us, but I just think now is probably the right time. We need to freshen up our midfield. He's not getting any younger.
If we have the funds to buy a different DM, if Jorginho leaving means Ampadu takes that spot, then no.
I 100% agree. We have to sign Tchouaméni. I'm not even going to mention Rice because it's not happening. I can tell you that now. Tchouaméni is the one. Liverpool, one of their top reporters said they're in for him. So I don't know. I think Adam Newson said Football London that we've actually had contact with Tchouaméni since his Bordeaux days, and it's never stopped. So I keep
just
thinking
can't
as
understand
well.
why we didn't sign him and just loan it back to them if we
I
didn't
know,
think he was ready.
Yeah,
It just
100%
makes
agree
no
with that.
sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense. We've only ever really done that with Pulisic, right? I think. And then,
but we should do it way more. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we should. It's a great business model, but again, maybe Monaco didn't want that. Maybe they think it would distract him, that sort of thing. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, I guess.
I think as well, one big thing which I want Tchouaméni so bad is because he said in an interview like not too long ago, I think it was a couple months ago, that he wants to play with Kunde at club level again. Now we signed Kunde, join the dots. If we want Tchouaméni, he wants to play with Kunde, you know. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I think Jorginho will leave, and it's not a surprise to me. He's been a great servant. I know some people actually hate him, which I don't understand. I've never been his biggest fan, but he's a good player, and if he does leave, he definitely deserves the respect.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was probably a bigger fan of his, or I am probably a slightly bigger fan of his than you are. I'm a big fan of him. I love the fact that he, even if not every fan, but the majority of the fan base, he won them back round after obviously under Sarri. He was blamed for everything. He was kind of scapegoated for everything that whenever anything didn't work under Sarri, everyone always scapegoated him. Well, and Morata, I guess, but those two particularly. But yeah, like you say, if he does leave, thank you for what you've done. And all the best, really. I just hope we get enough money, and I hope we replace him properly. But if we don't replace him properly, then we must not allow him to go, essentially. But Clutch, similar thoughts on... sorry, but Pies, take it back to you. Do we still believe that that's now he wants to actually do it? Like, yeah, it makes sense, sure, but is the report reliable enough for us to think that this is the case?
Well, he didn't say this summer, but I mean, if everything's, if all parties agree...
Summer, right?
No, he didn't say this summer. He just said that he just said Jorginho and his entourage want to go back to Italy. His contract
is could be on a free next season. See, then I actually disagree. I think he will prefer to leave on a free because every
the club
player wants to bank that signing on bonus to be a free agent.
True, but the club won't want that, and Tuchel doesn't want that. So,
no.
I mean, again, like he's explicitly said, for him and Kante, they need to sort this out. And
yeah, that's fair.
So we'll see. I think if everything makes sense, he'll leave this summer. But if it doesn't, he's going to stay.
I think Kante will never be a problem anyway. I don't even think Kante would leave if we offered him a pay cut. I think Kante enjoys being here. He's had plenty of offers over the years. So like, if Tuchel and the club want to keep Kante, I think we will be able to comfortably, personally. But there you go. Clutch, your thoughts on Jorginho potentially leaving?
Well, one thing we know is we need to revamp the midfield, and if he gives us extra funds to do it, I'm all for it. That's one thing we need to change something come summer, and the midfield is something we need to fix because Kovacic has been our best midfielder this year, no doubt about it. Kante is still
And he's not fit
Kante at
enough.
the end of the day, yeah, and we need somebody like a Tchouaméni or a Declan Rice. It's just we need it. It has to happen. One of those two players. I do not care which. Just do it. So if that's something that helps us get, then I'm all for it. Jorginho's a great player. I love Jorginho, but sometimes you got to get those players to get the other players. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. I do hear it, mate. I do absolutely hear it. All right. 7.5 Jorginho. Let's check on that poll for Kante. Now it's 51%, 7. Oh, now it's back to 50-50. This is mental. Clearly, we should have done it as 7.25 for Kante today, judging by what's happening. Mason Mount. Think back a few months ago. Jester was Mr. Negative when he came to Mason Mount. At least that's the persona he somehow got. Whether it was always fair, maybe not, but that's the persona that happened to be portrayed onto Jester. Because I would go lower than 6. Because today, I don't often think it's just on the attackers, but today I think it's just on the attackers. And I think Mount should get nothing higher than a 5, personally. I don't think he was awful, so that's why I'm not going to give him like a 4 or anything. But I don't think he was good enough, and he was just below average, I would say. So 5 from my end. Clutch, what about you?
Sorry, I was responding to somebody who said that we don't need to worry because Bakayoko's coming back. I want to ban them right now. No, I'd go for a 5. Is he the best of the attackers? Maybe, but he had some really poor crosses that we should have had goals
But also
on earlier.
one really good one that I think Timo should have gotten on the end of.
Yeah, that is also true. I just don't think he was on it today, and I'm willing to give him a 5.
Okay. Pice then. A 6 from Jester, somewhat surprisingly. A 5 from Clutch and myself. What about you?
I was probably going to agree with you, to be honest. I mean, that ball for Werner, I think that has to be a goal. Great ball. But some of his decision-making tonight was just not good. Like, thought he could have played some of the balls earlier. Like, his link up with Reece James was good down that side, to be fair. But, again, it was against Alex Telles. He's shit kind of thing. So, I don't know how much tax I put on that. But, yeah, I just think with Mount...
Well, Rangnick thinks he's better than Luke Shaw, so...
Isn't Luke Shaw injured, I swear?
Yeah, but didn't he play also when Luke Shaw was fit?
I don't know, probably. I don't know what that guy does sometimes, but yeah, he played. I don't know how to describe it. It's probably going to sound really weird, but he played good, but he also played shit at the same time. I felt like. So I'd probably go for like 5.5. Maybe I should go for 6 because isn't that an average performance? Yeah, I'll go for 6. He probably was average overall. I think he can do a lot better, but Mount's the type of player that. He has that urgency, he has that drive. Every time he plays it, you just want to see more of him. So, like, even if he does mess up chances, you're like, I want to see more of that next game because I know, another time that can go in. But again, that's half the problem because we're giving into some of these attackers sometimes and saying they're, I don't drop them or whatever because they mess up one game, but they might play decent. And then you're like, well, just stick him in for the next game. Something else might happen. We kind of get sucked into a trap, I feel like, with Mount sometimes. I don't know. It's hard to explain what I mean, but...
See, I agree with that because the back heel to Reece James that Reece James should have scored was brilliant.
It's like Mount plays decent tonight, but he doesn't have an amazing performance, but he's not going to get dropped. But realistically, shouldn't you give Ziyech a go next game? Because, Ziyech is... No, like Ziyech is sitting there thinking...
No, instantly.
No, but I'm not saying that because I have anything against Ziyech or I don't want Ziyech to play. I have no problem if Ziyech gets game time. My only perspective on that is when we were so good, did we drop Lampard every time he had an average game? No. Did we drop Drogba every time he had an average game? No. Did we
Mount
drop?
Isn't anywhere near those guys though.
That's not the point though. They had average games all the same as he does. Maybe he does it more regularly, but that But as a whole team, we're not as good as we were back then. So it's also more difficult to be as good consistently as we were back then.
To be
right?
fair, Mount is our like leading goal contribute, so it's kind of
Like,
hard. To
I'm not
drop
saying
him
he's
off
had
on
an
that.
amazing season. I don't think he's been great all the time. But I just think there needs to be some consistency. And if that consistency is Mount and the back three, then so be it. I mean, now it's been the whole front three anyway. But I just don't think we should just go drop players left, right, and center when they don't play well once. I think that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't make them better next time they get a chance either, in my opinion.
He wasn't very good last game either, personally. I think he was great against West Ham.
No, I don't think he was great against West Ham either, but like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. I need some players to play consistently. I'm not saying the whole team needs to be the same the whole time, but some people always think that, and the whole attack needs to be the same the whole time. Some people thought that at times and say, the reason Thomas Tuchel changes it all the time is why we're bad. Now we play the same front 3-5 games in a row, and they're complaining again. Well, once Lukaku played instead of Havertz, but still, yeah, that's just my point. But I think it's also fair. Your opinion, basically. I think it's fine to have different opinions than that. Now, Kai Havertz, it's a weird one, and people will slate me for this because I think the fact that Kai had his chances and Lukaku at 0 shows exactly why Kai actually played well, but screwed up every important final decision. That final pass or final situation with the shot or pass, that we touched on it earlier, the counter-attack that we had where you had Timo to his right, Kante to his left. I agree that it actually was good that he waited and tried to pass it to Kante because all the United defenders thought they were going for Timo. De Gea thought he was going for Timo. He was covering the near post. So even if he gives it to Timo, Timo needs not a wonder strike, but a really good strike to score because the angle between defender who will block him and the De Gea making the near post tight makes it a very narrow window to score. He would have to rifle it either bottom or top far corner, in my opinion, for that to happen then. But chances are Timo Werner probably cuts it back and then we bottle it. But let's ignore that part. I think the decision to pass it to Kante is good, but he just screwed it up. And the finish, the one-on-one needs to be a goal. It's an absolute sitter. The header, I'm not going to be as critical as others, but the header is the shot is as an absolute sitter. But if I take 1 point away from Kante for costing us the win, essentially, how many points am I going to take away from Havertz for costing us the win? No more than 1, right? I think his overall performance is probably a 7. I take away 1, I end up at a 6. That's me. I know some people will probably think, but why were you so harsh on Mount then in the Carabao Cup final? Why were you so? Because I don't think they played as well as Havertz did overall today. Because there's no better proof that he played well than once he was off, we didn't do anything anymore. You can't have better proof than that, in my opinion. But obviously each their own. Clutch. What about you?
I'm gonna give him a 3.
Fair.
If I give what everybody else,
you always go super harsh when someone misses chances.
Yeah, it's something I've done pretty much every time somebody misses the chances that we need to score.
But why doesn't Kante get a 3 then, or at least a 5? Because they both cost us the game equally.
Unlike you, I think Havertz had more chances. I think Havertz should probably have had a hat trick of goals, to be honest, today. I really think he had a lot of moments that he should have put away, especially the 1v1. The header he should have put away. He did better. It's not like Reece James puts the power on it. You just got to direct it in the corner. That's all you have to do. And I say that like, oh yeah, that's the easiest thing in the world. But if I'm going to sit here and be harsh on like everybody, like I have been all season for missing chances, whether it be Pulisic or whether it be Mount or Callum, I do it the same for everybody. I'm just going to give him a 3. I do think Havertz overall was good. And like you said, when he's on the field, we play better with him than Lukaku. And I know that Global's going to sit there and be like, oh, here comes the Lukaku slander. It has nothing to do with that. We played better. That's it. Because Havertz likes to move.
He wants me to slander Havertz, apparently. So,
like, Havertz has not had a good game. No. But today, it was his finishing that was his bad part. That's it. Everything else was fine. So,
which is why I don't agree with your 3, but
that's all I got after that.
There you go. I mean, someone said, why are you not downvoting type of his bad finishing? I am. Hence why he's getting a 6, not a 7. Because, and obviously, I guess if he would have scored them. I mean, I see the logic that he cost us on more occasions because he had more chances. But see, the way I believe in football is if we don't score the 1-0, we have more chances for the rest of the game. But because we scored the 1-0, we conceded, and then we didn't have any other chances. So in my head, if Havertz takes his first one, the other ones probably don't happen that way. So I can't say, oh, he should have scored 2. I mean, he should have done, but does the second happen if the first one goes in? That's not how football works. Things don't just happen the same way. That's why I'm like, whether you miss 2 or 3 is almost in a close game is the same to me as missing 1. I know people think that's insane, but that's my logic. And again, the header. Bro, he's running backwards. How is he supposed to put power on it? I don't get that part. But hey, I do think he should have done better also on the one way he put it in the side netting. I do think maybe I can expect him to see Alonso at the far post. At the same time, do I know if Alonso shouted for him? I don't know. Can he even hear that on a football pitch? I've not played in a full Old Trafford. I couldn't tell you what the acoustics are like. No idea. But Pice,
It's very silent. That's what I say. All I could do was Chelsea fans all day.
But regardless, is that loud enough not to hear Alonso shout from 50 meters away? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I said 6. Jester said 5. And Clutch said 3. So what are you going to go for?
I don't know. I think is again. I thought he played really well, but he just fucked up so many chances for me. So I might just knock a point off for each one that I think's bad, because that 3v2 was just disgusting. I'm sorry that you have to pass that to Kante. Like that has to go through. I don't care if Kante misses. At least play it. At least do your job. That's
well, mind you, Havertz did actually get an assist. Not that he knew much about it. It was a badly timed header, but he did actually get an assist.
Yeah, I'm not putting that towards anything. I'm sorry. He wasn't looking at Alonso. I was going to go over 7.
No look assist. It's even better.
Nah, I know we love Havertz, but come on. Nah, let's not do Firmino here. But I think I was going to give him a 7 for overall performance and then like knock points off, because I think the one-on-one he has to score, and then I think, see, I don't want to be too harsh, but again, the 3v2 has to go through.
Yeah,
probably leaves me at about.
I guess then we don't know does Kante score it, but at least then it wouldn't be Havertz.
At least do your job. Like at least, I'm sorry, I don't know. Has to put like, yeah, it's like a 5-yard pass. Like he hardly got even power on it. Like, come on.
Yeah, he basically fell over while passing. Like he barely passed it, probably.
I'm probably sitting at a 5, while also taking into consideration maybe he should have played it back post to Alonso. Maybe he could have scored the header. Trying to think if there was any other. It was such a crazy. We had so many.
The one that he smacked into the side netting near post. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with Alonso.
Yeah,
like maybe he
Alonso,
could have.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Was there any others? Like we had so many attacks. I'm thinking like, am I forgetting anything here? But
no.
I'll say 5. There was a lot of stuff. It wasn't his greatest game. I think Tuchel said after the game as well, he doesn't want to put too many blame on the attackers because they're all so young. And so, again, what was we saying about?
He included Timo in that, by the way. So let's.
Well, he's still quite young, isn't he? He's not old. He's not a Lukaku.
Timo's at that point where he should be fine. Like if
there's no point blaming Timo for anything. If Tuchel blames Timo for anything, it's a joke. Don't play Timo. We're all aware of Timo's weaknesses, limitations, exactly. So if you want to look over those and play him anyway, then you have not to blame Timo for it. You have to blame yourself for it. So that's why I agree with him not blaming Timo, because we know what we get from Timo. We will run, but he will not be great otherwise, other than if he has a random good game. And he knows that. So he can't blame him.
I think he was just mentioning like the age bracket overall. Like he just included, I think he included like pretty much all our attackers apart from Lukaku, but
and Ziyech, sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it is true. Werner is 26 now. 26 is not young anymore. 25 can maybe scrape into young, but not 26.
Anyway, I'll go
I guess
with.
he pushes his up back to a 5, I reckon. Well, no,
Yeah.
probably doesn't. Does it? Well, 5, 2 5s, a 6, and a 3. I reckon it leaves us at the 5. Now you know what. I let Clutch have it. I'll give him the 4.5. Otherwise, the chat will kill me anyway. And also, I did promise I would, so I will. This super chat here by Cameron Weekies, or Weeks. Sorry if I butchered your name there, mate. Appreciate the donation. Saying people saying Havertz is tired is a joke. He had all the time and chances, and he bottled it like he has for a while now. We can't protect him anymore. What you define as a while is 2 weeks, because before that he was the only good player we had. But fair enough. I mean, he should have run. Like I said, he struggled the last few games for sure. people completely ignoring the fact that he had to play left winger today. That has nothing to do with his missed chances. Of course not. It doesn't. Of course. But again, I thought it was good, other than the missed chances. People will hate me for it. I don't care. People say, oh, you would slander Lukaku. Yeah. But I wouldn't if Lukaku played well with missed chances. Then I wouldn't. You know? But also big difference. Lukaku was signed as a striker to score. That is not Havertz's main ability. So then I'm going to be less critical if it's not your main ability. It's like I'm not going to be as critical of Thiago Silva in front of goal as I am of him if he messes up defensively, obviously, right? Maybe that's a bit of an extreme analogy, but maybe you get what I'm saying. Timo Werner, I'll probably agree with Jester, make it quite simple and give him a 5. I don't think he was awful. I think similar to Mount. I think, yeah, he's a worst player, 100%. Maybe I'll give Mount a 5.5 as well, because maybe I did think Werner was he was less involved, and whenever he was involved, less useful, if I'm honest. Yeah, but I'll probably give him a 5. Do I want to say 4.5 because you guys or Clutch forced us down to a 4.5 for Havertz? Yes, but I got to be fair. So I'm sticking to my 5 for Werner. So that's 2.5 so far. Then, Pice, are you going to go along with that 5, or do you think it was worse than the 5, or what would you make of it?
I give Havertz a 5, didn't I? And even though he missed chances, he was much better than Werner for me. He was much more impactful just on and off the ball. It's a hard one because, like, I thought Werner played average, which would probably give him a 6.
Sorry. Goody keeps calling Havertz a clown of a footballer and just gave Werner a 7. Bro, you need to get yourself checked into a mental asylum. Man, what is that opinion? Sorry, bro. Go on. What, man? 7?
That's my train of
After
thought.
you clown Havertz all stream long? Nah, man. That you can't, like, nah.
I lost my train of thought now.
I'm sorry.
It's very hard today, right? Because we've knocked down ratings for missed chances, but I was going to say Werner played average, which would probably give him a 6 on our usual logic. But then he would get higher than Havertz, who I thought, bar the misses, played better. So what do I give him? Can anyone help me out here? I don't know how that works out.
Yeah, but do you think he was average? I don't know, man.
Yeah, like he just, I don't know.
Because
like,
what was our attack average, or were they bad because we didn't score?
But it was mainly Havertz and Mount, I think. Right? Like I thought Werner maybe could have got on the end of the cross.
Werner just didn't get the ball. It was kind of the other two did everything, but they messed it up, and he just didn't do anything, good or bad.
It's kind of like the West Ham game for me, and kind of like Werner. It's like for me all round is if he doesn't score or assist, it's like he's just there. You know, he presses, he's just there. He
didn't mess up badly his touches and his passes, but he's
not running the ball off the pitch anymore, which is good.
What I rate from him is he has learned his limitations a bit better, and he keeps his passing more simple. Although he tried today to Kai, I think, maybe to Mason, and he screwed it up really badly. And I was like, yeah, Timo, no, you're not the guy for those passes. Like, let's stop it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with a 5, I think. I think Havertz has to get lower just based on the missed chances. But it's weird because I think on the eye, Havertz was better. But it's really hard because he missed all those chances.
There you go. I mean, to be honest, I think Pice just fancies Havertz really. But Clutch, what do you reckon? 3-5 so far, so difficult for you to push it either way. But if you're going to go as low as Kai, then maybe I will, or you will.
Nah, I mean, Kai missed chances. Werner was just kind of there. He just
what? Sorry, Clutch. What does this guy mean? Werner was going to Havertz's place and doing his job. Are you talking about striker? Because Werner clearly, to me, was playing striker today.
He clearly did, and Havertz was playing winger. This was supposed. Again, I think Tuchel getting it a bit wrong there, because that's what we do when we play on the counter attack while United park the bus.
But it's weird because
Havertz
got into the box, right? Havertz got into the box, right? So he was striker on some occasions. It's not like when Werner plays out there, like he's never usually in the box, but
because Havertz can move, unlike any other performance. He's able to be in different positions.
Havertz is not a footballer. He is snake PR agenda. Okay, all right, Clutch, carry on.
People are calling him class ref, and if you are class ref, this isn't Lewis's stream. You don't want to be here, brother, because we're not going to give Timo Werner any credit for anything unless he has a decent game. Then we do, but
yeah.
Otherwise, we generally think he's probably one of the worst players we have. So If that's who you are, I'm very sorry to tell you that. But I don't think he did anything bad. He was just kind of there. And yes, Werner started through the middle, which is something I was absolutely rolling at the beginning of the game. And again, he makes Havertz worse. Like, you get so many limitations with Werner. And
See, today I don't agree with that because Havertz had the moments. While in the last 2 games with Werner, he didn't even have the moments, I guess.
Yeah, but Werner didn't do anything. So you're going to have one or the other. It's kind of like if you put Werner and Pulisic together. One's going to be decent, the other's going to be terrible. That's just how it works. But no, I'd give him a 5.
Okay. Nearing towards the end, of course, we still got performance and Thomas Tuchel's ratings to do. Lukaku 5, Pulisic 6. Obviously, Lukaku dribbled right into one defender, Telles probably, and he was once out-muscled and then on another occasion outpaced by Phil Jones. So I'm not sure. The 5 is probably okay because it was a cameo. It wasn't. We cost ourselves most of the time by giving stupid fouls away towards the end. So even though I don't think he was good, there's not like I can't give him a low rating. But what I'm not sure about is if I think Pulisic was a full rating better than Lukaku. I'm not saying he wasn't better, and I'm not saying Pulisic was bad, but I'm not sure if he was a full rating better than Lukaku. I mean, Clutch disagrees. He thinks the cross was fine. I think that cross needs to either go to Lukaku. Well, yeah, it needs to go to Lukaku, essentially. That cross does. But the idea was good, I guess. I kind of want to give him a 5.5 because even if he only played a little, was he better than Mason Mount? No. No. So I'm gonna give him a 5.5 as a sub rating. Price 5.5, 6 for Clutch for Pulisic. What do you reckon?
Clutch getting a 0 for this stream.
Maybe we should rate our like the people on the streams performances on the streams.
People's opinions. Let's rate them. No. Wait, is this Pulisic we're doing or Lukaku?
Well, I guess both.
Okay, so Lukaku, I was almost going to say NA, but then he did have I kind of just want to give him a 5 just because I'm sorry, that run, or not even a run, I guess the ball was a little bit behind him, but it was on his left foot,
It was a bad ball from...
And he's running, man. Like, how do you lose the ball there? So clumsy.
Who played? Actually, Pulisic. Backs my point that Pulisic shouldn't get a 6. There was a bad ball from Pulisic to Lukaku.
I don't know. I mean, by the way, I do think, what time did they come on at 73 minutes, I think? Was it 70?
But again, I will let Tuchel off a little bit because we scored in the 60th minute. Exactly on the 60th minute, and we conceded in the 62nd. So,
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes the subs don't have enough time to make an impact.
The 70th we subbed them.
Yeah. It's hard to judge an overall performance on not that many minutes, to be honest. I'd probably give them both a... yeah, I don't know, because I disagreed with Clutch. I said that Pulisic cut back. I think he should have played it to Alonso. And it just went in the middle of the box. But then Lukaku was also... I kind of want to give Lukaku an NA, you know. Did he, like...
No, I'm not letting you have an NA today, bro.
I don't know, like, did he...
He didn't, but...
Must be both 5s then.
Could he have done more?
I don't know.
Sure. Not getting outrun by Phil Jones would be a start. I thought he was supposed to be quick.
I'll give him both 5s. I don't know, it's so hard to judge the subs, honestly.
Yeah, it is, to be fair. But do you think Pulisic was as quiet or bad as Lukaku? Clearly. Otherwise, we wouldn't have given him
he was definitely... Well, he wasn't as quiet, but when he was involved, I don't think he did great. So I'll give them both a 5.
Okay. Clutch then. Both of them, but you can start with whichever one you prefer.
I'd agree with the 5. I'd say 5.5 for Lukaku. I think he only had a couple negative moments. Yeah, I don't think he had that. He had negative moments. Don't get me wrong, and he didn't have any positive moments. But I disagree heavily with Pulisic. Pulisic had 2 moments where they were positive. He got the ball back into our midfield and then pushed the ball forward, and that led to the Alonso cross the sky. And then he also had the cutback, which Lukaku made the movement. That was the good movement Lukaku made, was to get to that space. Somebody has to attack that space. I'm sorry. That's what Pulisic did to get his goal. Why can't anybody else do that? Sure, maybe that's not their game, but he put the ball in the right place.
But Alonso was
No,
right
but
there,
bro,
bro.
he didn't put the ball in the
I'd
right
have to
place
watch-
if there's no one in that space.
No, you have to be
You need to,
attacking
like-
that space. That's
Mount
what
did
Yeah,
that a
but
couple
he
of-
sees
Mount did
that no
that a
one
couple of
attacks that
times.
space.
By the way,
So
can I
why
just say,
cross it in that space then?
exactly, Mount
because
did that
you
like
have to.
twice
You
today,
have
and he
to
just
anticipate
You
somebody
don't
going
have
into that
to.
space.
You don't
Just-
have to
you
cross it
can't
to where
just-
no one is.
you
even
can't
if
just
someone's
cross it
supposed to
if
be
no
there.
one's there.
Because sitting where Mount was, there was no way that ball was ever going to get there.
By the way,
I'd
Werner
have
does
to,
this
I'd
all
have
the
to
time,
look
and
to
we
see where
slate him for it.
Alonso was. I didn't see Alonso, but I don't think.
By the way, Werner does this all the time. We slate for him. How many times does he go down the line, put it in the right area, no one's there, and then everyone says, "Oh, it's a shit cross," because it is. Because you shouldn't be
one
doing
thing
it.
I will say, if Havertz is on the pitch and not Lukaku, which is why I said yesterday, I don't want Pulisic and Lukaku because they don't understand each other at all. Like their brains work on so far completely different wavelengths. It's actually mind-boggling. Havertz stays. Havertz doesn't make the run near post, but Lukaku always does the run near post. And Pulisic should be aware of that. That's why the ball needs to go there, in my opinion.
And
But-
I don't think the space was there for a ball to Lukaku. I think Lukaku made the
Maybe
space.
not. I agree. I also think Lukaku's movement wasn't ideal. I think Lukaku should have stayed for that space. But I just don't think that excuses the fact that Lukaku wasn't there and no one was. Then don't put it there.
Well, I didn't blame Lukaku. I only blamed
I
Mason
know,
Mount.
but I'm
for
saying
that,
I don't think you can just take the blame of Pulisic because if no one's there, then you shouldn't pass it there.
I don't know.
If
I don't
play a
know. I don't
corner to the
agree.
edge
I
of the
agree
box
that
and
you
you
are-
don't have a player at the edge of the box.
I think you got to play it into dangerous areas, and players got to attack it.
Yes, but I get that. But bro, he sees that Mount doesn't have the time anymore by the time he crosses it to get there.
I don't know.
Like,
I'd
he
have to
knows
like
that
to be
it's physically
fully
impossible, so what's the
judgmental of
point
it.
of
I'd
putting
have to
the
see
ball
where
there?
Alonso was, because my anticipation was like somebody should have been in that space. But
Yeah, I think
that's
think
why
he
I'd
aimed
give him
more
a
for
6.
Alonso than for Mount personally, and Alonso didn't continue his run. But do I back Alonso to score on his right anyway? Probably not. So then why not go for Lukaku?
The space wasn't there for Lukaku from what I remember, but I don't remember as much as you guys probably did. I don't know. But if it was the way I remembered it, I would have given him a 6. But that's how I would have seen it.
Fair. I mean, 6 leaves it at a 5.5 anyway. To be fair, yourself and Chester went for the 6. I went for 5, and Pice went for 5.5. No, I did. I went for 5.5, and Pice went for 5. And then Ruben, I think we're probably all in agreement that's an NA, considering you played 8 minutes. But again, I question Tuchel's instruction. Why did he come on and tell Jorginho, yeah, as a 2, and then he was less offensive than Kante? Maybe it's not instruction, but the fact that he told Jorginho so vigorously, it's a 2, do you know what I mean? I don't get it. I mean, there wasn't much opportunity for him to be more offensive other than one where he could have played through Pulisic. Do I back Pulisic to outrun anyone anymore? Not really, but at least give him the chance, I suppose. And that's the one he messed up. But yeah, probably not enough for a rating. Clutch, you agree, NA, or do you want to give him a rating?
Yeah, no, I was going to give him an NA. I don't think he was out on the pitch long enough to do much. And I think he came on because Kante was injured. I think that's the only reason he came on. I think that's what they were saying on the show. Because the commentator was saying that Kante pointed over to Tuchel and like gestured that he needed to come off.
Well, he's not said anything
it
about
like
that. And he's
Ruben wasn't ready to come on, so maybe that is the case. You might be right. But Pice, do you agree? On the NA, yeah.
Yeah, and just on Clutch's point, they didn't, or Tuchel hasn't said anything so far in the interview about an injury, so hopefully it's not. But I wouldn't be surprised. You play Kante. I mean, there was a point where we was like, well, you can't play Kante 2 games in a row anymore. Now, how many has he played in a row? 2, 3? So he's probably due an
Well,
injury.
2
No,
because he
he's
didn't
not.
play Palace, but yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, 3 now actually.
he is injury prone. We know all this, so wouldn't be surprised soon. Saul is coming, boys. And then Ross Barkley.
Who is also ill these days. But Pice, I'll stick with you. Performance then. Did everything but score and made one defensive mistake. And the curse continues.
How do you even rate this? Because I want to watch Chelsea again tomorrow based off that performance. Like, I really enjoyed watching that for once. Like, we was totally in
He
control.
circulated the ball so well.
It was fucking beautiful at times, honestly. I don't say that enough either. So it's disappointing when you don't win the game and you play like that. It's just so frustrating. I was going to go 10, but I just can't. I'll go 9. I think overall it was very, very good.
9? Oh, no, that's way too high. Because part of the performance is finishing, surely.
Yeah, but I would have given it a 10 if it wasn't for the finishing. So I'm bumping it down to a 9. I can't get any lower than that. It was... What more do you want? Like, we literally dominated them. It was... We shut all over them.
Okay, fair. Clutch then. 9 too high for you, or would you go along with it?
It's hard to argue against it other than the finishing. I mean,
And
but-
Kante's mistakes.
yeah, let's do 9.
That's hilarious. Because I was maybe a bit higher than all of you for the player ratings, and now for performance, I was even debating if I should go as high as a 7. Like, I understand, I agree, we played nice football 100%, but we had 21 shots, only 5 of them on target, and scored 1 goal, or 6 of them on target, and scored 1 goal. That ain't getting a 9 from me. I'm sorry, boys. Because I mean, you clearly think it was so great, so I'm going to give him from my end a 7.
If we won, that would have been one of our performances of the season.
But if we won, the finishing wouldn't have been as bad, or we would have not made a defensive mistake. So obviously, I would have given it a higher rating.
The performance isn't just chances. I know it.
No, not
ultimately-
exactly. If it was just chance, I'd give it a 3. Yeah, if you
Fair
just
enough.
judge the
I personally
chances-
think it's much higher, but fair enough.
fair dues. I mean, Thomas Tuchel, to finish it off, I don't know really. I was okay with the team. He wouldn't have made the subs when I wanted them, but then we scored then anyway. So fair enough. We conceded straight away, that can't keep happening, and it keeps happening too much. Then we just lose this concentration after we score. It's weird. Like same thing happening against Brentford. And how long after we scored the 3-0 against Madrid did they score the 3-1? Like it just happens way too often. I'll give him a... You see, I want to give him a high rating because I don't like. It's not his fault that Havertz doesn't take the chance. The only thing you can maybe criticize is that Werner started over Pulisic. But is there any guarantee that Pulisic would have done better? No. So yeah, not much to complain. So I'm going to give him an 8. I'm not going to give any higher when we don't win, even though it's not his fault. But yeah, just because partly the staff, the managers, like the fact when a team consistently screws up, falls asleep after scoring, then that's the thing that needs to be addressed, and it hasn't been addressed. So that's why I'm not going to go higher. But I know maybe Price, potentially also Clutch will go higher. That's fair. Clutch then. 8, do you think it's too low? Do you think he's done enough to get a higher rating? Which I understand if people want to say that, but...
I'm going to go with an 8. Like you said, there's not much to criticize. You can't say these guys need to finish, or that he can do anything with these guys finishing other than playing them. Personally, I do think it's a mistake not playing Pulisic over Werner because Pulisic got the goal. What do we know about Pulisic mostly is he's a confidence player. So giving him that confidence after a goal, probably, I'd almost guarantee you he would do a lot more than Werner in this game. But I can't go too harsh because it's not like Werner's had terrible games to be dropped. So I can't go too far. Other than that, like, there's just not much you can say about it. Like, Tuchel did his job. It's just he got let down on the pitch today, and that's it.
There you go. And then Pies finish it off for us. 2-8 so far. You going to go higher?
Yeah, marginally, I think. As I say, I don't factor in the chances in a coaching performance. Rangnick had no answer for him. We was quite clearly the better team, played the better football. I just think one or two things in the lineup.
Like, let's not lie to ourselves.
Yeah, I suppose. Couple things in the lineup I would have changed. I would have started Pulisic. And I know it's controversial, but I would have started Chalobah over Aspi. I really would. I'm a big fan and rewarding good performances. And I think Chalobah should have started today because I don't want this to be another occasion where he doesn't come back into the team for ages now just because you want to play your captain. Like, I get it, but for me, Chalobah deserved to start. Subs, I would have brought them on a bit earlier. Maybe 5-10 minutes earlier for me. So I'm gonna go for a 9. 0.5 for each of those things I said, deduction. So yeah, 9.
Fair dues. I'll let you have the 8.5. And there you go. This stream, considering I thought it would be quite a short one, because initially I thought it would be just clutching myself, because Chester usually can't do the midweek ones because obviously he's got work, but he did this in his lunch break, so fair play to him again, shout out. And then Piesman should be here quite soon as well. So in the end, we ended up with a nearly 2-hour stream again. But yeah, obviously in the terms of the top 4 race, a point at Old Trafford is maybe okay, but it's only okay if we beat Everton and then beat Wolves, and ideally then beat Leeds, but we should be fine then. So we now need 6 points to seal it realistically, because our goal difference is so far superior to Arsenal and Spurs. But to even ignoring goal difference to seal it, we still need 7 points now. If people might not fully be aware of that, the reason is because Arsenal and Man United and Spurs still play each other, so that's why it's not fully that still needing 7 points, even if some commentators on where I watched it didn't fully understand it. So from that perspective, obviously super frustrating, and it just keeps happening. It's the story of a season: too many draws, too many missed chances, good performances, but not enough with it. Usually it happens at home. Now it happened away as well. I guess away at Wolves it happened too, although we weren't anywhere near as good or as many chances as we had in that stream in that game. But yeah, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. But yeah, difficult times. Hopefully, well, probably we'll find out news on the owner on Monday. I expect, maybe Tuesday, not before, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, we're back on Saturday for a preview for Everton, of course, and then I mean, we didn't win anyway, but I saw some people on Twitter say if we beat United, they want us to lose to Everton just because they want Lampard's Everton to stay up. I'm like,
fuck yeah, no.
Excuse me?
Don't get me started on that.
Is it called Chelsea or is it called Lampard? Like, fuck off. What is that? Ridiculous. And like Matisse tweeted, shout out to him, even though it was a private account, but still, like he tweeted, I hope Lampard chips 5. If Everton's staying up or not, it's down to getting a result against Chelsea, then they deserve to go down anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be the game against Chelsea that saves or does not save Everton. Do you know what I mean? And Lampard has had plenty of time. But yeah, I mean, big love for Lampard too. I love him too, right? But I'm not gifted in results. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, that's it really, unfortunately. We'll have to go again. But yeah, big shout out to the Pice, Jester and Clutch. Please follow all of their socials and Pice's website, chelseafc365.com, down in the description below. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, please do. On the road to 15,000 subscribers, and every new subscriber counts, so please hit that big red subscribe button down below. Smash the like button if you haven't already. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, up and onwards, and we'll see you next time.